With my son, I was in North Carolina when he was born. I got the job offer here on my due date, actually, and so we moved when my son was very young. That was a really, really hard season. I struggled with a lot of postpartum anxiety. It was pretty debilitating for me. I really struggled with anxiety around my husband leaving the house and kind of fears that he would get in a car accident and I would be alone and I couldn't deal with it all myself. It was a really tough season of moving, having a young infant, and dealing just with postpartum hormones.
We started the Moms Impactt program because unfortunately in our country, in our state, the leading cause of maternal mortality is due to mental health conditions, and that is due to suicide and drug overdose. And we have a really good understanding about those deaths and why they occur, and a lot of them have to do with the fact that women often can't access the appropriate care at the right time.
Our program treats women who are struggling with mental health and substance use disorders through pregnancy and up to a year postpartum. And we have chosen to do that because the year postpartum is the most vulnerable time for pregnancy-related deaths that are associated with mental health and substance use disorders.
Even if somebody identifies that they have a problem and they want help, there oftentimes isn't help available. That could be because of insurance reasons, or sometimes that is just there's nobody to actually see, or there's really long wait times to see somebody. The other barriers are oftentimes that in practice, most providers don't feel comfortable identifying these conditions. If they do identify them, they don't feel like they have the knowledge to address them, so they're often not brought up in practice. Within the area of maternal morbidity and mortality, we know that there's really significant racial disparities with Black women, and individuals that are Native are significantly more likely to die during this time in comparison to white women. With respect to mental health, they're also more likely to experience these problems in comparison to white women, and even less likely to make it to treatment. We know that there is a really important component of making individuals feel comfortable to access treatment because of all of the barriers that might get in the way, and a big part of that is stigma and discrimination. As providers, we need to be aware of and appreciate that those are the barriers, and that's what people are coming to us with, and often not trusting the health system. And so we need providers that understand that, are sensitive to that, and can ask people what they need in their care.
We created a program that has two prongs. One that is designed to help train and support frontline providers in that identification, and then a direct access program, which allows patients and providers to refer directly to the program for treatment, resource, and referral.
I became pregnant with my daughter, and I knew that I was at a pretty high risk for having postpartum anxiety again. My daughter was born, and there was a flyer for the Moms Impactt program in my discharge packet. I kind of noticed it. I was like, oh, I should file this away. But in the busyness of those postpartum days, it's back in the folder. You're just kind of in survival mode. Now I had a toddler at home and a newborn, and I started to struggle with postpartum anxiety again. And so I remember one day going and digging through my closet and knowing that there was that flyer in there, and pulled out the flyer and called the number.
When somebody calls on the phone, I will do a brief assessment with the patient over the phone, get a better understanding of what their symptoms are, trying to give them options as far as what might be most helpful to them, whether it be community resources where they are, peer support, connecting them to treatment in their own community, or connecting them with treatment with one of our psychiatrists or therapists within our program.
She sent me an email that had a list of all the different providers in the area who took my insurance, what types of services they provided. Was it virtual? Was it in person? Were there group sessions? I was able to find a really wonderful counselor who specialized in postpartum care, and it really significantly changed the trajectory of my second postpartum recovery, of being able to kind of work through those emotions and function in a demanding job while having a toddler and an infant.
The Moms Impactt program really leverages technology. We utilize telehealth to get patients into appointments. We're in Charleston, South Carolina, and we serve every county in the state. 1 in 5 women have a maternal mental health issue, and so they're going to keep showing up in different specialties. And so the goal is really to build comfortability across the state in different subspecialties, as well as be able to provide access to people who would have to drive 2 hours to go to a specialty.
What I'm really happy to see is that people are getting treatment earlier. Oftentimes when we just refer someone to treatment and we schedule their appointment, they're seeing a psychiatrist 4 or 5 months after the fact that they've had a problem, and their problems are much more severe. So being able to back that up to the first point where there's a concern and being able to intervene in that time is going to put someone on a very different trajectory.
I was so thankful that they were consistent, that they followed up with me, and that they took away those barriers that were keeping me from accessing the care that I needed.